and welcome back. It's Doug again, back with another pen-related video. This one is a bit of a surprise. I didn't expect to be doing this one. Our annual backyard barbecue, we invite a number of friends every year, and a friend of mine brought me this pen and asked me to take a look at it, borrow it for a while. He said he bought it back in the early 80s. It is a Sheaffer. It is a very small pen, and it has one of those terrific Sheaffer diamond style nibs on it. I've always admired that kind of a pattern in the nib. They remind me of course, vintage fountain pens, the kind that sit on people's desks and so forth. And doing a little bit of research, there are vintage Sheaffers in the PFM, Pen for Men variety that look like this as well. I gladly accepted this pen to try it out for about a week or so before I go away, and to do a little research on it as well. So I took some photos of it and put it up on the Fountain Pen Network and asked the experts that be on the FPN what this might be. And within minutes, what a great place that is, within minutes I got a note back saying that this looked like a mid to late 70s Sheaffer TRILIMPH GT. And I found, through a link that was provided by one of the members there, a photo of one and the actual model number. It says TRILIMPH GT 550. The 500 apparently has a gold nib. This one is gold colored, but the gold nib will say 14K on it. So this is gold plated. As you can see, it's a beautiful Merlot burgundy kind of color. I think the color was called burgundy. And it has what I think is a celluloid kind of body resin on it, because it does smell a bit. I'm not an expert on these things, but it certainly is in the era of that kind of a pen. On the body itself, it's really hard to see, but it does say Sheaffer, made in the USA, engraved on the body. And a typical plastic feed, a fine nib, and the nib says Sheaffer, USA, and then I can't make that out, but I think it's a P in a circle. I have no idea what that means. But it is a fine nib. It is small in size and has a very short clip. So if you don't post it, it's very small. It's almost too small for me. But when you do post it, and it posts very deep, and it posts very securely, it sits in the hand, and boy, that's a classic look, isn't it? Look at the gold trim, a lot of patina on this pen. It's been used. People are saying it looks like a mid-70s. I don't doubt it. I think my friend Jeff bought it maybe in the late 70s, early 80s. He was a little bit vague about it, remembering when he got it, but it's been with him for all these years. So I'm excited to give this pen a try. It is one of those squeeze converters. He's been using it with cartridges, but he put a converter in it for me. And when I filled it with some Konpeki, it leaked a bit. So there might be some work he needs to do on this pen to get the sack replaced. But the pen does work very nicely. And I'm going to give it some measurements here. I'll just look at the pen while you look at the measurements. there we go. It's a very light pen. It has a white dot on the very short clip. The cap has a square pattern to it that blends into round. So it's round by the time you get to the cap band, but it's got these 4 facets on it on the cap end, and it's round at the end of the body, and the body seems to be straight for quite a bit, and then it tapers slightly, which allows it to post so nice and deep. It is very narrow in comparison to many of my pens, but it is very comfortable, and unposted it almost feels like a feather. Posted, it feels a bit more substantial and actually probably more balanced at that point on how to write with it. Before I do a writing sample, I thought I'd maybe do some comparisons here. So here is the vintage Sheaffer TRILIMPH GT 550. And here it is next to my Visconti Van Gogh. Next to a Moonman M600S. And next to a Wing Sung 3008. So, I'm going to do a writing sample and see how this beautiful vintage Sheaffer writes. Okay, here we are with the Sheaffer TRILIMPH GT 550, and let's see how it writes. It's a very fine nib. It's not very wet. It's relatively dry, actually. The ink I've put in here is Iroshizuku Konpeki. And let's write. Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their parties. That was a typing exercise we used to do in grade 8. I know it's probably not politically correct to say men, good people, maybe we should people, to come to the aid of their countries, perhaps. Anyway, I was getting tired of the quick brown fox. But this nib is very smooth. Of course, it's been written with for many, many years, and I think Jeff has gotten some great pleasure out of this. I'm going to recommend that he get it repaired at our local pen shop. When it goes a little bit faster, it skips a little bit, but other than that, it's very nice to write with. And so, that's sort of a special edition. I'm not much on vintage pens, but this one fell into my lap, and I thought I'd give it a spin. So thanks, Jeff, for loaning me this beautiful burgundy-colored Sheaffer. I love that nib, the look of that pen, classic. And again, thank you for watching. And that's all she wrote.